Here at Power Supercross, it was almost the perfect weekend for Jett. Maybe just a little bit impatient, maybe not. He maybe just misread the back marker. But anyway, just a mistake. These things can happen. But the pace,
for sure, just didn't read it. And he just realised, like, holy crap, he was going really slow.
Well, everyone's going really slow, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
But you must be happy though. Aside from that, what he was able to do this weekend.
These events are so good for us because we have a lot of people probably don't know, but Show will come out with a lot of parts that are updated to where they want the suspension to go. But maybe it ends up in public stuff in 4 years, 5 years. So we have a lot of new Show stuff inside the bike. The 25 frames obviously new for Supercross, so we have a lot of learning to do, and we wanted to give the boys a bit of time off this year because we haven't given them much time off in the last 4 to 5 years. So they hadn't had much time on the bike. We got a bit of testing in, and we're like, we think we've got a pretty good window. Okay, we'll go to France, have some fun, race some laps, and see where we're at, because I find they compensate so much on their own track, that you need to get a fresh new track to really see what the bike's doing and see what it is. So we found we were way too soft, and so we chased it all weekend and got in a not a bad window. So it's good, really good information for us to work on and get better at for A1.
And what was your thoughts on the track? Do you think riding a track like that does help whenever you go back to America for the 1000%. Supercross?
These tracks, the only reason I do them, if they were Bursey tracks of 15 years ago, I don't think we'd come. But these tracks, they're sick. They do such a good job with it. It's unreal.
And I mean, when you think about it, really, it's not that long ago you were running around the GP paddock and Jett was on a Suzuki, messing around with Liam Everts. But it goes to show how time it goes. And even his first year in America, he was only an amateur. So
yes, he was.
Are you surprised at how quickly he's gone to the top of the sport? Really?
Surprised? Yes and no. Jett is a quick learner. What I'm surprised is where we got to. I actually just never thought we'd get to this level. But as a family, as a dad, you just love that learning phase for your kids. All right, you want to be better at it, well, you've got to put a work into it to get better. And that's why we love coming back to Europe, although we do race so much during the year, we're so busy. This one's a little bit different. You haven't got the pressure of the championship. It's still more of a fun thing why you got into dirt bikes. Come back, the teams bring their wives, the mechanics and stuff bring their wives, so they can come back, they can have fun, get more of a social event. So it's a little bit of a different feeling than AMA where you're getting the big dollars, And
a couple of people I'm going to mention here, we're always talking about the average and how they helped you when you're in Europe, but Greg Moss is always quick to comment on our posts. He also helped you in Australia. Just how did those two people help you when you were coming through the ranks?
Yeah, Mossy taught me everything on the basics of riding, all the little rudiments that you see, and I still use that stuff today on our farm with kids, just little circles and balancing things. He taught me all the basics, but one of the main things as he is coaching is like you have to learn to coach yourself. You have to learn to keep evolving, and that's one thing that we obviously took, because Mossy's coached thousands of kids in their time, But we really grasped every word he said and just treat it like the Bible of how to move forward. So no, Mossy, unbelievable. Scott Bishop, Mike Ward from Yamaha took Hunter when I had to go to the mines in Australia. They took care of Hunter. There's Heiko Klepka, Kenny's dad. We all know that, how much they helped us. There are so many people that you never ever want to forget that have helped you. We went to dinner with a guy in Las Vegas who was Hunter's first ever sponsor in Australia on a 50cc. He gave us one set of gear. Paul Sexton, his name was. Never forgotten him. Made sure, come out for dinner, mate. And he was just like, are you serious? I'm like, mate, he still gave us one set of gear. And that's important to us to never forget where we came from.
And some Aussies are making the trip over to race GPs next year, Jake Cannon being one of them. What advice would you have to those guys, sort of trying to follow in your footsteps?
Just do what we did. We followed Chad's footsteps. They follow ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Chad went to Europe, and I knew there was something in Europe. I knew nothing of the sport then, and still don't know it all. Don't get me wrong, but you get obviously more educated as you go. But I knew there was something in Europe that Chad learnt. I had no clue what it was. I just knew I had to go there. And that's what I say to all of the kids from Australia. From Australia to America is I think is too big of a stage. Europe just grinds you and just makes you tougher, and just there's so many challenges. The language, there's so much stuff where you have to overcome. And that's what I think for Australians, the European path is the way to go.
And just on Hunter this weekend, maybe a little off the pace yesterday from his normal self, but those standards are high. But today I feel like he rode better. It was just a shame about the crash, but at least he got back to fourth, I think it was, or fifth.
Happy with him. Because he hasn't got the leg length and the limb length, Jett can compensate. So with the shock, obviously it was too soft, and so it would come back in the wood. So Jett can get over the back and just hold the shock down. Hunter can't do that. Now, he wants to stay central because he knows if he gets back, it's going to boot him. So for him, he can't compensate. His bike has to be more in the window, then he can go quicker. But at the farm, he's been the same speed as Jett, so I'm not worried with him in the first 6 days of our riding is all we've had. I was really happy with him already, so I'm good with him.
And just going back a few weeks to the Motocross the Nations, you guys made history. I mean, what a weekend. Did you ever think Australia would win the Motocross the Nations?
And especially not that weekend. We struggled that whole weekend, and the boys were actually saying, man, we're riding it like an American. We're trying to ride it aggressive and it's not working. They had to go slower to go faster. It took them all weekend to sort of get their European legs back under them and so forth. So yeah, I did not expect us to do that, but one good thing, Hunter and Jett, you can get the bike into a window, then all right, we can compensate the rest. So it's good.
And whenever you came to Europe, what was life for you like there? And what's it like going to America and your life for you there? I mean, the lifestyle and stuff is probably a lot easier in America.
Big time. We are spoilt rotten in America, honestly. I was a practice mechanic for the boys here, and you just worked until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, because you rode from lunchtime onwards in Europe. So it was hard work here, 7 days a week. It was constant. America, like Supercross, honestly, some days we just, we call it a Supercross wash for Renee and I. We'll just wash the wheels and tyres at the bottom of the frame and he puts it in the shed. It's just, we are a little spoiled, but Supercross is gnarly for the athletes. It is gnarly.
And just on Jett, I mean, what he's doing in America is unbelievable, but Hunter, he's still doing very well himself, but do you feel like he's living under the, what his brother's doing and hiding under the limelight a little bit? Is that tough for him, do you think, or is that something he just needs to forget about?
Hunter knows that he had so much to do with getting Jett to where he is. Hunter, I think, has a share of that. Like Hunter said, if I'm not winning by stripes, boy, you better be. As long as there's a Lawrence there, he doesn't care. But my aim is obviously to get Hunter back to where his body was in Europe, So we're still working on that side of things, but I'm really happy with each year. You know what he's like, he just grinds away and he gets there slowly. Jett's he's just a different human being,
And Hunter, one thing I liked about him is speaking a bit of French. I suppose maybe that comes from Cynthia. Is he fluent in the language?
No,
or just knows enough?
He's trying to learn it because Cynthia's dad, Charlie, doesn't speak hardly any English.
Right, okay.
Mum does,
right.
But he's trying to learn the French, obviously, for Cynthia and be able to talk to Cynthia's dad. And he's obviously, Hunter was pretty intellectual, pretty smart, so he picked up German when he was with Heiko, and that pretty good. And now he's finding the French a little harder than the German, but he's getting there,
And just on AMA, obviously they increased the races a few years back with the SMX. How tough is it doing 31 races a year if you even make them all? It's pretty brutal, and then obviously you guys come here, you don't get much rest. Do you get any time off?
We do. This year we took the time off because we hadn't the years before. We'd stayed going for that 4 to 5 years to try and get us up to where we need to be because we just weren't competitive, So we just kept working, whereas this year we're after Nations, boys, don't look at a motorcycle now, go away, So that's what I mean. We came back a bit late, and now we are going to head off to Australia. So
go back home.
Some time off again there, and then they'll ride on that thingo. So for us, these events we're not downplaying them, but it's hey, let's just come here, get some laps, let's get some grooves, see where the bike's at. So we go back, and then December we'll start to go to work, but. The AMA side, it's not so much what the boys find the actual event and riding the motocross. It's the plane flight there, plane flight back, and it's all the obligations. They get torn here for the interview, this obligation, that obligation. That's what wears them down, and I guess I was trying to explain it to Jett the other day, and I guess as a carpenter, you get into building a house because you love building a house. For an athlete, I guess all the interviews and all that stuff is like doing your tax paperwork at home. You didn't get into building houses because you wanted to do the tax paperwork, but it's just, you just got to do it. It's part of the business. And that's what I was trying to explain to Jett. I know sometimes you're just tired or you're not interested, but it's just part of it, mate. You have to do it. So.
And do you go back to Australia much? And when you go back there, who do you actually stay with? Because I believe you sold everything there. Is it just family, or?
Yeah. So Tate will probably go to Nan and Pop's, and then we have friends on the sunny coast we'll stay with. So obviously lots of friends. That's our route. So we have multiple places we can stay, and it's good just to catch up.
Perfect. Well, enjoy your trip back to Australia, and thank you very much for your time. It's appreciated. Good luck.
My pleasure. Thank you.